everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Micah and today's video is going to be my entire brush collection. I feel that makeup brushes are not getting enough loving in the online beauty world. We always talk about makeup, we always talk about skincare, but the humble makeup brush, we don't really talk a lot about. Even if people are doing tutorials, the brushes they use are hardly ever mentioned. And I really feel that a good makeup brush can make or break the difference between how your makeup applies. So that's why I thought I could show you my entire brush collection and sort of go through each of the different categories. I will be showing you my face brushes as well as my eye brushes. And when you see this, then you know that I have quite a few makeup brushes, to be quite honest. And that's just something that grew over the years. Makeup brushes do not expire. They can only fall apart if you've used them too much. So that's why a makeup brush, if you invest in them, they can really last you a lifetime. And if, of course, you take proper care of them as well, because that's another thing. A good makeup brush, however, doesn't have to be super expensive. You have the Hakuhodo ones that some people swear by, but those are like very, very expensive. And I have a couple of like more expensive brushes, but I don't think I own a single brush that retails for over 30 euros. So everything I have is 30 euros and under. My three favorite brands are Sigma, Zoeva, and Real Techniques. I think I have the most brushes by those brands, especially Sigma and Zoeva, because they allow you to buy individual brushes. But from Zoeva, I've also tried a couple of their brush sets, and with Real Techniques, there are just a couple of like standard brushes that I reach for all the time. So I thought it would be fun to show you all of the brushes that I have, and since there are quite a few here, let's just get to that brush collection. So this is what the entire brush collection sort of looks like. I got a couple of organizers. This is a repurposed Makeup Forever eyeshadow palette. I took the palette out and was left with this nice pencil case. So that stores most of my beauty blenders or like makeup sponges that I'm not currently using. I have a little kabuki. This little pouch right here are my travel brushes. And then what you see sitting on the desk in the little containers, those are the brushes I use when I do my makeup at home. And not all of this gets used all that regularly. However, I used to keep brushes I don't reach for a lot over my drawer with my makeup collection, and I felt that was how I was actually never using them, so I decided to put them all up here because that way I just have everything handy, and if I'm looking for something particular, now I can just grab for it and I don't have to like dig through an entire drawer. So I've got two big cubbies right here, and they hold my face brushes. I got these containers from Action. They're actually candle holders. I believe it goes for all of them actually. So these are from Action. These are the face brushes I don't use a lot. These are the face brushes I reach for on a daily basis. Here we have smaller brushes. My main eyeshadow brushes are kept in this candlelight holder from Xenos. I think that's where I got it. And then these two other ones are the brushes I don't reach for a whole lot. The containers are from TK Maxx. And yeah, I've got fluffy, bigger brushes, blending brushes in this one, and I've got all of my smaller brushes in the other one, and then these are the ones I reach for on a daily basis. So that's sort of the overview. What we're going to be doing is we're going to go over all of these brushes in more detail right now, and I'm going to take them all out of the containers for you, group them together in categories, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of those categories. So here we go. Starting with this pouch, these are my travel brushes. I don't reach for these a whole lot, but I just like having this handy so that I can just grab and go. I try to keep these clean in between travels so that I just have them ready to go whenever I need them. And these are mainly spare brushes. So most of these brushes are not my favorite, but they are good enough to get the job done. So I've got some face brushes in here. So this is a nice powder brush by e.l.f. I have this brush, which I like to use for bronzing quite a bit. This is by Boozy Shop. This Real Techniques brush, what's this called? This is the buffing brush. I quite like for foundation. So if I want to use a foundation brush, I have that. And then this one I like for blush. This is also a Boozy Shop brush. And these are the brushes that came in the set that came in the pouch. These two I like for highlighters or also again for buffing things out and things like that. I really like to keep a minimum, like a very minimal brush collection in this pouch. And then I've got some eyeshadow brushes. This is a Real Techniques, is this the concealer brush? Deluxe Crease brush, but this is a really nice concealer brush. I've been using this for years. Got a little bit old and tired, so I've sort of put it with my travel makeup because I still like that brush, but I don't use it all that much. And then I have a couple of eye brushes. These two are double-ended ones by Eco Tools. Excuse me. I just woke up, so so it's got a flat shader, it's got an angled brush, and then it's got a fluffier brush and like a paddle brush. Really nice to just do a basic look. And then I have this double-ended Anastasia brush, which I think came in my Modern Renaissance. This is actually a really nice quality brush. And I also like the Urban Decay ones sometimes when I travel, like the double-ended ones you get there. But this I find is a bit better quality. It's fluffier in the blending brush, and I don't really have a good blending brush in there. And then again, a nice shader brush. And I like using this one for my lower lash line. This is a little kabuki from H&M. And this came with a Dior powder that I bought a long time ago. So those are my travel brushes. These are all of the makeup sponges I have. I have some AOA brushes here. These were sent to me from Canada by Stashy. We did a makeup exchange, and she got me some AOA sponges. You can get these on the Shop Miss A website, and I've already been eyeing these up to see if they would have the option to ship these to Holland, because this one, this hourglass shaped, super fluffy one, has been my favorite. So I definitely would like to get a few more of these, perhaps. I haven't used the purple one enough to really form an opinion, but I do quite like it, the times that I've used it. And this has that same bouncy texture as the other one. And I'm usually in favor of this kind of shape for my sponges, so maybe I like this even better. But for now, this is my favorite. These three are all Primark, and when you buy these, they come in a set like this. So this is also a Primark sponge. And because this has the same shape as this one, because these have the same shape, I thought I'd try the Primark one first, because I bought 3 packs of the Primark ones. I still have 3 of these, so before I commit to buying more of these, I think I should first try this. But these Primark sponges are my other favorite sponges. These are really nice. They grow quite big when you wet them. They're a great beauty blender dupe, and they're only €2 for a 2-pack. So let's move on to face brushes. Let's start with powder brushes first. I seem to have 4 brushes in each face category, which is quite funny to me. But that's how this apparently works. My favorite powder brush is this. This is a very old Sigma brush that I've had for a long time. This is the Sigma F80. It's the flat kabuki. And I used to use this for foundation, but I really like this with, like, for packing on powder. It's really nice with loose powders. You can, like, just pick it up and then just, like, press it onto your face. If you feel that you look a little bit cakey, I like to go in with this. So this is sort of like my favorite powder combo. If I feel that I've over powdered, I like to knock any excess powder off with this. This is the F25, and this is the tapered face brush by Sigma. So these Sigma brushes I really, really like. If I'm in a pinch, then I do like to go in with this Catrice Angle Artist brush, I think. These were released just last year in 2018, and I quite like them. This is a very soft brush. And because it has this angular tip to it, it really gets into the inner corner around your eyes and also around your nose. So I do really like this as like a backup. And then I have one little e.l.f. kabuki brush here. I quite like e.l.f. brushes, and this one I use exclusively with my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. So if I use that powder, I always go for this brush. Let's stick to base products for a minute then. These are my foundation brushes, and I mostly apply my foundation using sponges nowadays, but some foundations simply apply better with a brush, especially lighter weight foundations. If you don't want the coverage to disappear completely, then a brush is a lot better. This has to be my favorite foundation brush. This is the Zoeva 104 Buffer Brush. I have this in the packaging from the Opulence collection because it came with that. And this is such a nice foundation brush. I used this quite a bit at the beginning of last year when I was still using a brush a lot more of the time. My other favorite foundation brush is again an oldie but a goodie. This is a Sigma round kabuki, and this is the F82. This is one of the oldest brushes in my collection, so it looks horrendous because I can wash this all I want, but it just never becomes white anymore because the bristles have just stained over years of use. But this is my other favorite foundation brush, and I really like this because it's a little rounder and a little bit smaller. It just really works well on my face. And then my third favorite would have to be this. This is one of those paddle brushes that definitely had a moment, I think a year or 2 ago. I still really like mine. I got mine from Action, which over here is a budget store. I think this came in a set with 2 other brushes, and I think I paid less than €5 for it. And this is such a nice brush. It's exactly the right shape. It applies foundation very nicely. It cleans very well. I really like this brush. And then we have another one of the Crease Angle Triangle Artist brushes. This is the foundation brush, and I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little dip. And what I do when I use foundation with a brush is that I actually pump the foundation onto the brush and then apply it to my face. And this actually has a little hole in the brush to allow you to do that and not spill the foundation everywhere, which I think is very clever. This brush does eat up foundation quite a bit. I feel it does that quite a bit, but it does apply foundation very nicely. Again, very nice soft bristles. Really nice brushes that Catrice came out with. So then we have concealer brushes. Just as the foundation brushes, I tend to apply concealer with a sponge or my fingers most of the time. But if I go for concealer, then these are my picks. I also have a couple with my eyeshadow brushes that I also like for concealer, but these are my favorites with my face brushes. This is my favorite one. This is again by Zoeva. This is the Face Shape 110. This is a really nice round. It's a little bit bigger. It's actually supposed to be for contouring, I think, but I find it's too big for contouring for my face. But for concealer, it's really nice. It's quick and easy. My other favorite concealer brush is this Real Techniques setting brush. This is officially for setting powder, but I really like how fluffy this is. So especially with a lightweight concealer, this is very nice. And then to set my concealer, I like this Up and Up brush. This is a brush that you can find at Target in the US. So that's where I got this. It's a very nice, sort of a little bit denser than the Real Techniques one. And I find that this works really well with an under eye powder. Bronzer brushes, next part. My favorite bronzer brush is this Crown brush. This is a large stipple brush. It's officially called the C406 Large Duo Face. And I really like a stipple brush for bronzer because it just makes it look a lot natural and not as cakey or more intense, because I'm very fair, so I need to sheer it out quite a bit. So I love that brush for it. I used to have a Sigma one in this style, but that one fell apart on me, so I bought this as a replacement. Other favorite bronzer brush is this one. This is again an Up and Up brush. I believe this is called the powder brush. These don't have names, and I know I bought a set and like a single one, but I don't remember how it worked exactly. This is a really, really nice fluffy brush. It's quite big, which is why it is actually perfect for a bronzer that is already quite sheer, and applying that. I like this especially with my Hourglass bronzer and like my Becca and those like more shimmery, glowy bronzers. This one is very nice with that. I have a short-handled MAC 187 here. This was sent to me by Stashy in a swap that I did with her. This is a really nice brush, but it's a little bit small, so I actually think that I want to put this with my travel brushes because it's so nice and small and dinky, but it will do something very similar to that. And I don't really feel I have a good bronzer brush in that set yet, so I think I'm going to move this from my main collection into my travel pouch. And then last but not least, a surprise to me, Essence also came out with new brushes this past year, and this is their new bronzer brush, and this is really nice for bronzer. It's a little bit smaller than the Up and Up one, but this is a really nice bronzer brush, so I'm very happy with that. This is quite possibly the only category where I have so few brushes in. This is sort of like my spare brushes. I use this one the most of these two. This is the Real Techniques Complexion Blender brush, and they came out with brushes to apply skincare with. I think this was the range that they released as makeup brushes to apply skincare with. I like this for primer, and the reason why I like it, like the Catrice one, it has a little bit of like a gap. So I put the primer in the gap and then I buff it all over my face. It just makes my hands less dirty. I really like this. It has a bit of a slant to it as well. A brush I don't use a whole lot is this Eco Tools brush. I don't remember what this is called. The name has rubbed off. But I believe this was like a face finish brush. And this is a very sort of lightweight powder brush, and I really like this. If I, for instance, overdone my blush a little bit, or I think my highlight is a little bit too dark or too intense, or my bronzer or my contour doesn't look nice, this is a great brush for just buffing things out, either with or without powder. Blush brushes then. This is my favorite everyday blush brush. You can tell because I've had this for a long time. and it just looks a little worse for wear, but it works well. It's just, I've just washed it, so it always becomes a little bit misshapen. But this is the Real Techniques blush brush. I've been using this for years. Best blush brush on the planet. However, if I have a blush that is a little too intense for my taste, then I grab for these two. This is the Zoeva Luxe Sheer Cheek. It's an angled brush, but it's very fluffy. And if you have a very intense blush, then this can be very nice to have more of a sheer application. This is also really nice with more glowy blushes, I find. However, I just received this last year in that makeup swap that I already mentioned a few times. This is the Quo, I'm not sure what it's called exactly, but this is a Quo brush, and it's a dupe for a very expensive NARS brush. This is so soft and very flimsy, which again is why this is now my favorite instead of this for like a sheer application. So I like using this with my more intense blushes. And then just in case I have the urge to apply a cream blush, bronzer, cream, anything, and I want to buff it out with a brush, I have this Real Techniques sculpting brush. This has a really nice dense sort of top, so it's very nice for actually buffing out a cream product. I mostly use it with cream bronzer, but I sort of keep it with my blush brushes because that's where I would find it. These are my contour brushes, and I don't do a whole lot of contouring anymore. But this e.l.f. small stipple brush is my favorite for like a very natural contour. It's very small. It works really, really well on my face. It's just a really nice contour brush. And then we have these three, and I have to be very honest that I don't use these as much as I think I should. This is the Petite Face Definer by Zoeva, and this is also really nice because it has a little bit more of a pointy edge to it. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's got a bit more of a point right there, but it's also very nice and light and fluffy. So if I want to do like a very quick contour, because this is quite big, I feel, this works quite nicely. And then these two brushes I don't really use a whole lot. I'm not sure what this is called again. It's a cream cheek, or I'm not sure anymore. The name has rubbed off, and it came in like a set. The silver set I actually quite liked by Real Techniques. And it's just a really nice one, again, either for cream contouring or for buffing things out, but it works really nicely because again it has a little bit more of a taper to it, so it actually can fit quite nicely in underneath the cheekbones. And this is one I haven't used yet. This is the Zoeva Petite Face Finish, is that what it's called? Yeah, Petite Face Finish number 111, and I think that this will be a nice contour shade like the Real Techniques one. It's sort of very flat. It's a little bit denser here, but it goes pretty flat towards the top. So again, I think this could be very nice either for blush, but I think it can also be nice for contouring, but I have yet to use it. And then finally, my highlight brushes. I used to just use this. This is the Luxe Highlight Brush 103 by Zoeva. This is like a very sort of fat one, and it's really nice if you really want to blend out your highlight. But I felt after a while that this wasn't giving me a very intense highlight. So then I found this brush. This is the F03 High Cheekbone Highlighter Brush by Sigma. And this is such a nice highlighter brush. If you want to pack on highlighter and really make it intense and blinding and in like more of a targeted area, then this is nice. And then if you want to blend that a little bit more, I like this one. This is actually the same brush, so I'm glad I now have two. This is new and I haven't used yet. This one I've used. This is the Zoeva Luxe Powder Fusion brush. Am I correct that it's the same one? Yes, it's the 134. And so what I've been doing lately, if I want a very intense highlight look, I apply it with this, blend it out with that without any product on it, and then I take a little bit more product on this brush and then really sort of go around in circular motions, and I feel that that really gives a nice glossy, glowy look. So for blending out, for blending in, I would say. So yeah, I have 3 highlighter brushes that I use almost daily. I know, excessive, but I love these. Right, so since it's going to be easiest to continue into eye brushes, with some of the smaller concealer brushes I have, I think that's a nice transition. These are my smaller concealer brushes. I don't reach for these a whole lot but I do really like all of these. I have some Zoeva here. This is the Cream Shader by Zoeva, and this is my favorite brush that I like to use with concealer if I want to cut the crease. I don't do that a whole lot, but I found that this brush, because it's more of like a paddle shape and it has that rounded edge, that you can really make a nice precise line with this, and this works really well for that. This is the other Zoeva brush. This is the Concealer Buffer, so this is actually Concealer Brush 142. This is just a really nice small domed brush, great for concealer. And then these two are very similar, again, that paddle style. This is the other one that came in that action set that I mentioned that was like €5 for 3 brushes. I also really like the concealer version. So this is a really nice one for concealer. And I just got this free as a gift with purchase, and this is the Makeup Revolution one. Also very nice and soft, so I think I will quite like this as well. I'm just going to start with some random bits first. This is the only spoolie I have. This is by Hema. I just wanted a spoolie to brush through brows or my lashes if it's a little bit too clumpy or anything like that, so that's what I use that for. And then I have some brow related brushes. This is my brow bone brush. If I want to put on a brow bone highlight, I use this Sonia Kashuk brush. This is the number 203, but I believe that entire line has changed, so I'm not sure if you can still get this, but this is available at Target in the US. And then these two brushes are my eyebrow brushes. So if I use anything other than an eyebrow pencil to put on brows, this little Real Techniques eyeliner brush is one that I love using for brow powder. For eyeliner, I find it's a little too stiff. It was very difficult to apply eyeliner with this. It tugged on my eyes, but it's great for brows because it's quite small. And then this very little Essence brush. This is also an eyeliner brush, I think. Yeah, an eyeliner brush by Essence. And this is very, very flimsy, but this is why it is perfect for applying brow pomade. So powder and pomade. Lipstick I usually just apply from the bullet, but I do have a couple of lip brushes. This is one of my oldest brushes. This is by the Body Shop. I once bought a Body Shop brush set when I first started in makeup. This is one of the brushes I kept because I just don't have anything else like it. It's very nice and small. It's quite stiff, but that means you can make a very precise line with this, which is why I like it. The same goes for this Hema brush. This is also a lip brush from them. It has a little bit more of a jagged edge to it, but it does really get into the corners of your mouth, so that's nice. And the same goes for this. This is the Precision Lip Brush by Zoeva, number 331. Nice brush, but I prefer the other two. And then I have a couple of small blending brushes. This is a travel-sized E25 by Sigma. Again, maybe I should just put this in my travel makeup bag. I'm thinking I should do that. Because this is a really nice brush, but I now have a bigger version of this, which you will see in a minute. I have a mini MAC 217, which I want to keep with this collection, because if my 217 ever gives up on me, then I still have a backup. And these two are by Hema. They are the exact same brush. This one is completely discolored, and this one still looks okay. I've had this for a very long time. I use this brush every single day to apply a light colored eyeshadow to set my eyeshadow primer. That's what I use this for exclusively. It's falling apart, which is why I bought a backup when they still did these, because these have been discontinued. But so far, it's hanging in there, so I'm going to keep using it until it falls apart. Let's talk detail brushes, and this is where my brush collection has expanded quite a bit in the past year, because I didn't have a lot of small, very detailed brushes, so that's what I invested in a little bit. So I first have the Lux Precise shader brush here, the 238 by Zoeva. This is a very nice small brush, and it's really, really nice if you want to do like a halo eye and you just want to apply a pop of something bright in the middle of the lid. This is very nice. The same goes for this. This is the Detail Shader 237 by Zoeva, very similar purpose, but it also works really nicely if you want to pack on some color onto like a cut crease or anything like that. This is the Sigma Shader Crease E47, it seems. And this is really nice. It's a little bit more fluffy. It's actually quite nice for blending out the lower lash line. This brush is an Essence brush that came for free with one of their palettes. Again, this is a really nice brush for smoking out the lower lash line. And this little Real Techniques one, this is the accent brush. And again, I like this for adding like a pop of brightness either in the inner corner or again with a halo eye or something like that. This works really well. And this is another freebie from an Essence palette that I got a while ago. And this is actually quite a nice like packing on kind of lid brush. So again, for applying shadow when you're doing a cut crease, this is really nice. Let's talk shader brushes. So my all-time favorite eyeshadow brush is this. It looks gross. The name has rubbed off. This is the Sigma E55. And I remember when I bought this, I was like, oh, so that's what the difference a brush can make. So with this brush, I really discovered that buying better brushes really would help my makeup application. I use this wet, I use this dry, I use this every single day. It's a little manky, but it's still hanging in there. It's okay. And because I like that one so much, I actually bought 2 other shader brushes this past year just to have some other sizes. So this is the E57, the firm shader right here. It's a little denser, a little bit smaller than the other one. So I don't have the biggest eyes. So if I want to use multiple colors on my lid, it's better if I go in with something a little smaller. So that's why I like that. And then we have the E20. This is the short shader brush. This is really nice. It's again really nice for a very blown out lower lash line, but you can also use this to like, well, do some more detailed work. And then this, again, quite new to me, but this is a really nice contender actually for my E55. This is the Zoeva Luxe Classic Shader number 232. It's a little dark, but it's a very nice sort of fluffy shader brush. It picks up quite a bit of product and I was very happy when I used this. Let's talk packing brushes, because nowadays, of course, if you want to do a halo eye or a cut crease, you first need to pack on the color before you can sort of like blend it out. So that's what I have this section for. My favorite one is again by Sonia Kashuk here. This is the Sonia Kashuk 106. This is a really nice one for packing in color in like the outer V area. And then I like using this, is this an e.l.f. brush? I think it's the e.l.f. blending eye brush. I like this for really like blending around the crease. So if you've really packed on color and you just want to blow it out, this with nothing on it works really well. And then I just have 2 sort of backups if my Sonia Kashuk one is too dirty or if I want to use something else. Again, a very old The Body Shop one. This is the eyeshadow brush, and this is another Hema one that they stopped doing. So these 2 brushes I have as backups. So these are my crease brushes. I use a couple of these every single time I do my makeup, and that's this little combo. The only MAC brush I own is a MAC 217, and I bought this before they started doing the synthetic hair, so this is like a real goat hair one apparently. I use this to apply color to my crease every single day. And then to blend it out, I no longer really use a blending brush to blend out any colors. I like going in with a wispy brush like this. This is the Zoeva Luxe Defined Crease 224. And this is just a really nice brush for picking up a little bit of color and then blowing out the crease. I find that that transitions more nicely to my brow bone. So this is a very lightweight wispy brush. And then if I want to make a smoky eye, I use this. This is the Petite Crease by Zoeva. This is the 231. This is a very nice sort of like tapered brush that is really, really nice for putting some color in the outer V area and really smoking out a look. Right, I was doing something wrong here because I had to add in another brush. So let's just talk about this one first then. This is the Zoeva, let's see, Luxe Crease 228. This is one I didn't have yet, and I'm very taken by it straight away. I've been using this a lot for really sort of blowing out the lower lash line. I usually don't blend my eyeshadow down too much because I feel it looks too intense. But I've been finding that this brush does that very nicely. However, it is like the bigger version of the one I just showed you. And this can work also really, really nicely for either applying eyeshadow to the crease or for like the outer V area and make more of a smoky eye. But this will diffuse it a bit more. My other favorite crease brush that I don't use a whole lot anymore is something that's a little bit more like tapered like this. This is the Sigma E45. And this I felt was becoming a bit scratchy, so I bought this to replace it. This is this Crown C139 stiff tapered crease. So these are essentially the same brush, but this one is a lot cheaper than the Sigma one, but these work the same way, for me anyways. And yeah, so if I don't want to use my MAC 217, then I tend to use these in a crease. And then we have blending brushes. Now these brushes, like some of these are like dupes for the MAC 217, but I like using these for a bit of blending, or again, if I want to use multiple colors in the crease, then I pick up one of these, or if my MAC 217 is just too gross, then I rotate these out. There's only one true blending brush in here, and this is again a very old one. This is the Sigma E40, yeah, and it's very, very sort of like splayed out by now, but I don't really use this anymore because I find it's a little too big for my eyes. But this is the brush, if I just want to use a brush for blending something, this is the brush I go for. This is a new one to me. This is a Sigma Diffused Crease E38. So this is like the smaller version of the E40, which is why I prefer this a little bit more. And then we have the Firm Blender E44. This is very similar to that e.l.f. brush that I just showed you. So if I pack on some color and then just want to blend that out, then this is a very nice one. And these are essentially very similar brushes. This is the E25 by Sigma, and this is the Tapered Blending by Boozy Shop. And as you can see, they're quite similar, I have to say. Let's talk cream eyeshadow. I don't really apply cream eyeshadow with a brush. I tend to apply it with my fingers. But if I want to blend it out a little bit more or anything like that, I kind of use, I have some tools to use if you want. This is the Precision Round P82. This is really nice because it sort of mimics a fingertip almost to apply a paint pot or anything like that to your eyes. These Real Techniques, these are the Bold Metals collection, and these are really nice, but I found that with the Bold Metals, it was all very stiff. So this is really nice for like packing on the shade, and this like rounded one, I'm not sure if you can see that very well because it's white on white. But this is, again, a little bit more pointed than the Sigma one. And this is really nice for blending out the edge of like a cream shadow. So I like using this a lot with my Super Shock shadows by ColourPop. And then these two tools, I don't use a whole lot because I don't use a lot of glitter. But these are really nice for glitter. This is really nice for applying glitter glue to your eye. And then this is really nice and small. And since it's silicone, the glitter sticks to it. And then you can tap it on with and then you don't have to, you don't get glitter as much everywhere as you normally would. Eyeliner brushes for someone who doesn't do eyeliner. I have quite a few here. This is the one I use the most because it works really well when you want to apply eyeshadow as eyeliner. And this is just an angle brush from Hema. This is a pinky one and it's really, really handy to have. Then I have some liquid like gel eyeliner brushes. These are both by Sigma. These are the E05, travel sized and a bigger one. I prefer the travel size because the handle is a lot shorter. It gives me a lot more control, but I haven't used gel liner in ages, but I could still do it if I'd like to. This is my favorite gel liner brush. And then I also have some angled brushes here. I have one by Vizanti and I have the wing liner brush by Zoeva. Again, if I want to do a wing, I've got something here, but they're not my favorites. I suck at winged liner, but I have it if I want to. And this is the Flat Definer by Sigma. This is the E15. And as you can see, this is a square brush. When it comes to eyeliner brushes, this is probably my most used one because this allows you to really smudge a gel liner into your lash line. And that was a look I went for a very long time. More blending brushes. So what if I just want to do a wash of color or if I need another blending brush? I have this selection for you. Real Techniques definitely takes the cake here. I have two of their base shadow brushes. I really like these for like a wash of color. I really like using these with the berry shades in the Modern Renaissance palette. That's why this is probably still stained a little bit red. These are really nice for just applying a little bit of color to your lid and not make it too intense. So if you feel the eyeshadow is a little too pigmented, then this is a really nice one. And they also did an angled shadow brush. Oops. And what I like with this is that you can really sort of use that angle to wedge it into your crease and really blend it out that way. I don't use it a whole lot, but it is a nice one to have. And then I have the Soft Definer brush by Zoeva.
This is their version of a MAC 217, but I find it a little bit too stiff. So again, for applying a wash of color, it's nice. And this does something very similar. This is the Visanti Contour Eyeshadow. Nice for the crease, but can also be used as a blending brush. And then I have some smaller brushes that I use every single day I do my eyeshadow. This is a Sephora brush. I'm not sure what this is called. This is the smudge brush, and this is my favorite brush for the lower lash line. Together with one of these, I use the Sephora brush to apply the shadow, and then I use these two to blend it out or blend in another color. This is the Zoeva Petite Eye Blender 223. This is a little bit more dense than the other one that I'm holding. So this is again great for applying a bit of color. And this is the Essence Smoky Eyes brush. This is from their older collection. This is such a great lower lash line brush for like blending things out, smoking it out. It's really nice. And then this is my favorite inner corner highlight brush. This is the Sigma, can't read it anymore, E30. That's what this is called. It's like a very small pencil brush. And then we have only a few left. These are again by Visanti. They came in a little kit. These are the eyeshadow and detail eyeshadow brush. These are the kind of brushes I will use, I will reach for when everything else is dirty. I didn't feel like they're nice brushes. They're actually really good, but this style of brush I don't use a whole lot. And then finally, this is a little Hema brush. This is a really, really good quality shader brush, actually. This is really, really nice. So again, a backup if my E55 is too gross, too dirty, or if I want to do something that will make my brush very gross and dirty, I always have a brush that I don't mind if I ruin it with glitter or glues or anything like that.
So those were all of the makeup brushes in my collection and what I use them for, and a little bit of like a review on each one of them, so that hopefully when you are looking to buy a certain brush that you have a good idea of what's out there and what you can use certain brushes for. Just because I use them for that purpose doesn't mean that you have to. I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one who's using brushes for a different purpose than what they are intended for. I think that everybody pretty much does that. So with brushes, definitely sort of figure out how they work best for you. And yeah, I think that starting off with just a couple of very affordable brushes can work actually really, really well. So by no means do you have to splurge and buy something like this in one go. I would not recommend doing that. Just sort of invest in them every once in a while, and then you're fine. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I would love for you to join my little family here and subscribe to my channel. I make new videos 3 times a week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, 5 a.m. Central European Time. That's when you can expect a new video by me in your subscription box, if of course you are subscribed to my channel. So please do if you'd like to see more by me. And without further ado, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!